Far beyond Earth, deep in the cold and endless dark of space, there was a powerful alien empire known as the Dominion. They ruled thousands of star systems. They had seen countless civilizations rise and fall, and they believed one simple rule: only the strong deserved to exist. For them, strength was everything. If a species was weak, divided, or slow, it was erased. If a species was strong, united, and useful, it was forced to join. There was no mercy, no second chances. For many years, the Dominion had not found any new species worth their attention. Most worlds were either empty or already destroyed, until one day, a small scouting ship detected something unusual: a blue planet, full of life. The signal was sent back to the Dominion High Council. Soon, massive observation ships moved silently through space and stopped near that small planet, Earth. At first, the Dominion leaders were not impressed. They watched from orbit, hidden and invisible. They saw humans living their daily lives, cities full of noise, people rushing everywhere, machines, technology, communication systems. But something felt wrong. Commander Zarek, one of the Dominion's most experienced observers, stood in the control chamber and watched the planet carefully. "Zoom in," he said. The screen changed. Now he could see human conflicts, wars, soldiers fighting each other, explosions destroying cities, leaders arguing, countries divided by borders. Zarek stayed silent for a moment. Then one of the other commanders laughed. "This is the species you called interesting?" he said. "They are destroying themselves." Another officer added, "They are weak. They cannot even work together. No unity, no discipline." The High Council quickly agreed. "This species has no value," one of them said. "They are unfit for survival." Zarek did not answer immediately. He kept watching. He saw something different. Yes, humans fought each other. Yes, they were divided. But they kept surviving. Every war, they rebuilt. Every disaster, they recovered. Every problem, they found a way forward. It did not make sense. "Why are they still alive?" Zarek asked quietly. The others ignored him. For them, the answer was simple: luck, nothing more. But Zarek was not convinced. He ordered deeper scans. Days passed. The Dominion studied Earth more closely. They saw human history, ancient wars, great empires rising and falling, mass extinctions, natural disasters, and still, humans survived. Not only survived, they improved. They learned faster than most species. They changed, adapted, evolved. Zarek's interest grew stronger. "These creatures are not normal," he said. But the council had already made their decision. "Enough observation," the High Leader announced. "This planet is divided and weak. It will not survive long anyway." There was a short pause. Then came the final command: "We will take it." The room became quiet. Even Zarek looked up. "Take it?" he asked. "Yes," the High Leader said. "A quick invasion. Minimal effort. The planet has resources. It will be useful." Another commander smiled. "It will be easy." The Dominion had conquered worlds far more advanced than Earth. For them, this was nothing. Still, Zarek felt something was wrong. "Permission to continue observation," he said. "Denied," the High Leader replied. "You are overthinking. This is a weak species." Zarek looked back at the screen. Earth was turning slowly in the darkness of space, peaceful from a distance. But he had seen what was inside: chaos, struggle, survival. He spoke one last time. "They are not united," he said. "But they do not give up." The High Leader dismissed him. "Prepare the fleet." And just like that, the decision was final. A small invasion force was selected. Not a full army, not even close. Just enough to take control quickly. Because in their eyes, humans were not a threat. As the fleet moved toward Earth, Zarek stood alone in the observation chamber. He watched the planet one last time. On the screen, he saw something simple: a group of humans helping each other after a disaster. Strangers saving strangers, risking their lives, working together, without orders. Zarek narrowed his eyes. "This does not match their profile," he whispered. But it was too late. The fleet had already entered faster than light travel. There was no stopping it now. Days later, Earth's skies began to change. Strange objects appeared above the atmosphere. Satellites stopped working. Signals were lost. Across the world, people looked up in confusion. No one understood what was happening. Not yet. Far above them, hidden in silence, the Dominion ships took their positions. Weapons charged, targets locked. Commander Zarek stood on the main ship watching everything. His voice was calm, but uncertain. "Final chance to reassess," he said. The High Leader responded coldly. "Proceed." Zarek closed his eyes for a brief moment. Then he gave the order: "Begin invasion." And in that moment, human history changed forever. because the Dominion believed this would be their easiest victory. But they had made one mistake, a mistake no other empire had survived. They underestimated humans, and soon they would regret it. The moment the order was given, the sky above Earth changed. At first it was small, almost unnoticeable. A flicker, a shadow, a strange silence in the signals that circled the planet. Satellites stopped responding. Communication systems began to fail. Air traffic control lost contact with multiple aircraft at the same time. Across different countries, operators stared at their screens in confusion. "What's happening?" one technician whispered. No one had an answer. Then, people started seeing them. Dark shapes in the sky, huge, silent, unmoving. At first, many thought it was a glitch, a mistake, some secret military test. But then the videos began to spread, from phones, from cameras, from news stations. The same objects, seen across the world, floating above cities, watching, waiting. Panic slowly began to grow. In homes, people turned on their televisions. Emergency broadcasts interrupted normal programs. Governments tried to calm the public. "Please remain indoors. We are investigating the situation. There is no immediate threat." But the fear was already spreading, because deep inside, everyone felt it. This was not human. High above Earth, inside the Dominion flagship, Commander Zarek stood silently. His eyes moved across the massive display. Every continent, every major city, every military base, all mapped, all tracked, all units ready, one officer reported, awaiting your command. Zarek hesitated for a brief second. He remembered the humans helping each other, the strange strength he could not explain. But the high leader's voice cut through his thoughts. "Execute." Zarek opened his eyes. His voice became cold again. "Begin Phase 1. And in the next second, the first strike began. Bright beams of energy shot down from the sky. Faster than sound, more powerful than any weapon humans had ever seen. Military bases were hit first. In seconds, they were gone. No warning, no defense, just destruction. Across the world, explosions lit up the horizon. Shockwaves traveled through cities. Windows shattered. People screamed. The illusion of safety disappeared instantly. "This is not an attack. This is an invasion," a news reporter said, her voice shaking before the signal cut out. Governments reacted fast. Fighter jets were launched. Missile systems activated. Defense forces moved into position. Humanity was not going to sit and wait. Not this time. In the sky, human jets rushed toward the alien ships. Pilots locked targets. "Fire!" Missiles launched. They moved fast, but not fast enough. Before they could even reach their targets, the Dominion ships activated their defense systems. Invisible shields. The missiles exploded far away, doing nothing. Then came the counterattack. A single pulse from the alien ships. Just one, and entire squadrons disappeared. No debris, no survivors, only silence. Back on the ground, commanders watched in disbelief. "Our weapons are useless," one officer said quietly. Fear began to take control, but something unexpected happened. Instead of surrendering, humans kept fighting. Across different countries, leaders made the same decision. "We do not give up." Emergency meetings were held. Old enemies sat at the same table. Nations that once fought each other now shared information. Military data, technology, strategy, everything. Time was running out. In underground bunkers, scientists worked without rest. They studied every piece of data they could collect. Alien energy readings, movement patterns, weaknesses, if any existed. "This technology is far beyond us," one scientist said. "But not impossible to understand," another replied. And that was the difference. Humans did not stop at impossible. They kept trying. Above them, the Dominion continued their attack, but something felt strange. Commander Zarek noticed it first. "They are still resisting," he said. One officer looked confused. "Of course. It is instinct. They will stop soon." Zarek shook his head slightly. "No, this is different." He zoomed into one region, a city that had just been attacked. Buildings destroyed. Fires everywhere. And yet, humans were moving, helping each other, carrying the injured, organizing, fighting the chaos. "They adapt too quickly," Zarek whispered. Back on Earth, something else was happening. The internet, what remained of it, was being used in a new way. Not for entertainment, not for arguments, but for survival. People shared real-time updates, warnings, safe locations, medical help. For the first time in a long time, humanity was acting as one. A global response, not perfect, not organized, but powerful. In one military base, a young officer looked at the sky and clenched his fists. "We can't win like this," he said. A scientist beside him nodded. "Then we don't fight like this." That idea began to spread. If human weapons didn't work, then humans had to change the way they fought. Think differently, act differently. Back in space, the High Leader watched the battle calmly. Resistance is expected, he said. End it quickly. But Zarek was no longer sure. These are not weak creatures, he said. They are learning. The High Leader responded sharply. They are surviving, not winning. Zarek did not argue, but deep inside he knew something had changed. This was no longer a simple invasion. This was becoming something else, something dangerous. Down on Earth, as the fires burned and the sky remained filled with alien ships, a quiet determination began to rise. Fear was still there. Pain was everywhere. But humans were not breaking. They were adapting, and that was something the Dominion had never truly faced before. As night fell across parts of the planet, the alien ships glowed in the sky like silent watchers, waiting, watching, preparing for the next strike. But this time, Earth was not the same, because humanity had made a choice. Not to surrender, not to run, but to fight back, no matter the cost. And far above them, Commander Zarek looked at the planet again, this time not with doubt, but with growing concern. Because the war had only just begun, and already, things were not going as expected. The world was burning, cities were damaged, skies were no longer safe, fear had spread everywhere. But something else was spreading too, unity. For the first time in human history, old enemies stopped fighting each other. Borders still existed on maps, but not in actions. Countries began to share everything. Military secrets, technology, intelligence. There was no time for pride. There was only one goal now: survive. In underground bunkers across the world, leaders sat together, not as rivals, but as humans. We fight together, one leader said. No more division, another added. And just like that, a new chapter of human history began. Above them, the Dominion ships still controlled the skies. They moved slowly, watching, scanning, waiting. They believed victory was already certain, but on Earth, humans were changing. Fast. In a hidden research facility, a group of scientists studied the alien attacks. They replayed the recordings again and again. Energy beams, shield patterns, flight movements. It's not random, one scientist said. There is a system behind everything they do. Another scientist leaned forward. If there is a system, there is a weakness. That idea became the center of everything. Find the pattern, break the pattern. Around the world, small teams began working together. Engineers, hackers, physicists, soldiers, people who had never worked together before. Now they had no choice. They shared ideas without fear, tested theories without delay, failed, and tried again. Time was short, but humans were learning faster than ever before. In one military base, a young engineer stared at a damaged alien signal device. It had fallen during one of the early attacks. It was not fully destroyed. Carefully, she began to study it. This is not just a weapon, she said. It's communication. The discovery spread quickly. If humans could understand how aliens communicated, they might be able to predict their moves, or even disrupt them. That hope was enough to push everyone forward. Above Earth, Commander Zarek watched the updates. His eyes narrowed. They are organizing, he said. One officer responded, "It will not matter. They lack the power to challenge us." Zarek was not so sure anymore. Power is not their strength, he said quietly. They are changing. He zoomed into multiple locations, different countries, different cultures, different people, all doing the same thing, working together. It did not make sense to him. Most species the Dominion had conquered were united from the beginning. But humans, they became united only when everything was at risk. And somehow, that made them more dangerous. On Earth, the first real breakthrough happened. Scientists discovered a delay in the alien shields. A very small delay, almost impossible to notice. But it was there. If we hit at the exact moment, one scientist said, his voice shaking with excitement, "Go, we might get through." It was a small chance, but it was something. And for humans, something was enough. Plans were made quickly. A coordinated attack, multiple forces, perfect timing. It would not be easy. It might fail, but they had to try. Hours later, the operation began. Jets launched again, missiles prepared. This time, everything was different. Pilots were given new instructions. Wait for the signal. Do not fire early. Trust the timing. In the sky, the Dominion ships remained calm. They had seen this before. Another failed attempt. Another useless attack. But this time, humans were ready. Now the command was given. Missiles fired from multiple directions. At the exact same moment, the alien ships activated their shields. But the timing was slightly off. Just slightly. One missile passed through. Then another. For a brief second. The impossible happened. A Dominion ship was hit, a direct impact. The explosion lit up the sky. Across the world, people watched in shock. "Did we hit them?" someone whispered. The damaged ship lost control. It began to fall, slowly at first, then faster, until it disappeared beyond the horizon. Silence filled the command centers. Then, cheers. For the first time since the invasion began, humans had won a battle, a small victory, but a powerful one. Back on the Dominion flagship, the atmosphere changed. Officers looked at each other in disbelief. "This is not possible," one said. "They should not be able to do this." Zarek stood still, watching the replay again and again. "They found the weakness," he said. The High Leader's voice came through, colder than before. "Explain." Zarek did not hesitate. "They are learning faster than expected." There was a pause. Then the High Leader spoke again. "Then we will end this quickly." More ships were called, more weapons prepared. The Dominion was no longer taking this lightly. But it was already too late for one thing. They had underestimated humans, and now humans had proof. Proof that the enemy could be hurt. Proof that the fight was not impossible. Back on Earth, that single victory changed everything. Fear began to turn into hope. Hope turned into determination. And determination turned into action. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were fighting back. And they were getting better. Commander Zarek looked at Earth one more time. This time his expression was serious. No doubt, no dismissal, only realization. "This species," he said slowly, "is not weak." But far below him, humanity was only getting started. Because now they knew the truth. The aliens could bleed, and if they could bleed, they could be defeated. The war had entered a new phase, and from this moment on, nothing would be easy for the Dominion anymore.